Right. We are live from JFK, John F. Kennedy Airport. We are about to head back to Vancouver, and it's been a really productive trip. The goal of this, the goal of this entire content system was when I first started this was during COVID, by the way, the New York had. When I first started during COVID, the goal was just to start a podcast. I think some people used to say that I have a good voice, so I think I leaned towards that. I started the podcast. I started interviewing my siblings. Started with my little sister. Then slowly I went to my smart friends. Then slowly I went to LinkedIn influencers. And from there, we jumped into founders, entrepreneurs. We had a founder of $100 million startup. We had founder of a $1 billion startup. Uh, and it was amazing. And but the problem over there was like when you are, it's amazing. But the now, but what's the problem? The problem is that all the conversations you're building great relationships, but these relationships are just like on the screen, just on the screen. So they're like, yeah, all you're talking to is like two tags. That's it, and it's not that engaging, right? So that's something that was happening. Uh, and then I'm totally reliant. When you're producing a podcast, you won't have any content of yourself. You don't own your schedule. Your schedule is totally dependent on this other person. When they are available. Again, I was in India. Most of the time, we are like interviewing everyone around the world. There were a couple interviews. There were a couple podcasts where I found how difficult it was. That okay, sometimes the podcast, sometimes it's scheduled like early in the morning, like 6 a.m. That's an issue. Sometimes scheduled like late in the night, like three a.m. or something. So working around someone else's schedule, that was a bit not say difficult, but that wasn't very productive. That wasn't very productive because now you're constantly changing schedules. But we did get some interesting stuff out of it. And also, when you're young, you can do all of this thing. Even right now, like I'm traveling, you can do all of these things. So I'm not complaining. But the goal was to start controlling content because what happens in podcasts is that your content is totally controlled by the quality of guest you get, and there's nothing you in there. Like, what are you? What is the values you're bringing? Yeah, yes, you're asking more important questions, but what is your daily practice that you're doing? Right? Like, there's no daily practice anything. So now with live streaming, we have got to a point where every single day we're producing content. Sometimes, most of the time, I'm following what's interesting to me. It's startups, it's businesses, it is a personality, it could be anything. Uh, what else? And then I had an idea that, okay, we want to start doing in-person filming, and now suddenly I have a bunch of ideas that are rolling in my mind that okay, how do I bring conversations, because conversations are really interesting conversations, like good conversations, good deep conversations, whatever. That's when I think my brain really gets into this intellectual stimulation, and I love that feeling. So I was like, how do we make that thing? Uh, and the good thing that happened with the live streaming is that we were able to control our content every single day, and we were not desperate that, oh, we need to produce something. No, 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 we can take our time. And now in New York, in Williamsburg, I was just walking. I've already shared the story. I was just walking. We came across this beautiful, not beautiful, but massive studio, and there are a bunch of like stones outside. And then I see a screen, and there are a bunch of a digital screen where there are a bunch of sculptures being shown. And then I'm like, interesting. And then I walk in, he's a spy. He turns out that he is the main artist, he is the sculptor, very tall. And we have a great conversation. And I'm like, hey, I would love to actually film an interview with you. Next year, we make it happen. And now this is amazing. So we had a one-on-one conversation. We got to tour the entire thing. So it's like a blend, a beautiful blend of tour plus a podcast plus an interview. And I think this is something that we're going to keep doing. And again, you can also see a vlog, right? So this is a very beautiful combination. And I'm going to keep doing this. Anyways, let's go into Brunello Cucinelli. I just found out someone who shared this on Twitter. I don't know if I spelled this right, but anyways, I don't want to touch my phone or my AirPods will mess up. But let's go over here. When look at Cucinelli, I think he shared his entire daily schedule. This was pretty interesting, like how he spent. I'm kind of inspired by that, but okay. You spend your early half of the day, half the work day, first half of the work day, deep work. creating. Second half, administrative stuff. And third half of the day, not the work day, but after that, when it's your personal life, that's when you are having a dinner, and that's where you are having a philosophical conversations with other friends. And it's not like lost philosophical conversation, it's just like very interesting. It's just conversations with people that help you grow. And yes, stuff like that. So that was very interesting. That's kind of like stuck with me. So let's look into it. Talking about Brunello fashion designer, known as founder and executive chairman of the luxury brand Brunello Cucinelli, and offers high-end cashmere imports and humanistic capitalism. September 3, 1953, Castel Germany, India. Cucinelli grew up in a modest rural family and was deeply influenced by witnessing his father's difficult working conditions. Earning a diploma as a land surveyor and briefly studying engineering, he left academia to pursue business inspired by a desire to create a workplace that respects both the moral and economic dignity of workers. Launched a business 78, innovating brightly colored cashmere sweaters, and usually at a time when cashmere was mostly sold in neutral shades. Without significant financial means, he started in a small workshop and focused early exports on Germany and the US, seen as reliable markets, following craftsmanship and luxurious materials. In 82, moved his company's headquarters to Solomeo. It took a large-scale restoration efforts to revitalize the region, including restoring silviculture, culture, and developing community-focused projects that reflect his value. Geology, like workers receive all industry wages, generous breaks, and strict limits on working hours, underscoring a model that balances profit with employee well-being and community engagement. Spending his ideals as much as economic growth. His global symbol of industry, luxury, and ethical business producing clothing, footwear, accessories, craftware, and simply the main anchors in value of craftsmanship, sustainability, and humanity. Also, some cost value. These are performed. Man needs, I just I think I saw him talking about that. What is really important for everyone is honesty, courage, and one more thing. And that's what he believes this man needs dignity even more than he needs blood. I think he's referring to the working conditions. Every human being has an amount of genius in them. If you have 1,000 people, you have 1,000 geniuses. There are just different kinds of genius and a different degree of intensity. There's just different kinds of genius and a different degree of intensity. Wealth is not about having a lot of money, it's about having a lot of options. Hmm, hmm, hmm. But then you get into option dilemma. So it'll be interesting to see what he talks about that. Success without ethics is an empty victory, full expression of human dignity. We need a new form of capitalism, a contemporary form of capitalism. I would like to add humanistic to that equation. Work hard, but always strive for balance in your life. Make a compromise your needs for success. True beauty comes from the then, whose quality over quantity of every aspect of life. The most beautiful things are often the simplest. The most beautiful things are often the simplest. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. You should strive to be a source of inspiration for others. Excellence is not about climbing a ladder, it's about creating a staircase for others to follow. Never underestimate the power of kindness and empathy. Work philosophy is grounded on a distinctive set of ethical principles, described as humanistic capitalism approaches characterized by confronting dignity, respect, and social responsibility, which inform every dimension of how his company operates. Human dignity. Oh, we even look at the pictures. We should look at the pictures. Yes, this is one of the Cucinelli. Actually, once went to one of the stores. It's very interesting how they treat you. These are very expensive. These are very expensive suits. Yeah, obviously. Deserves respect and recognition beyond the world as a hero who brings the city and security even more than any spread. This community is studied in his practice of Therefore, is a power industry standards and ensuring general future conditions. Ethics before profit is philosophy insists that business success should never come at the expense of ethical values. Honest dealings, transparency, avoiding exploitation, all levels from suppliers to employees. Inseparably from community well-being has invested substantial resources in restoring a revitalizing the villages for the mayor where his company is based, integrating stewardship as a moral essentially that's like a control planet. For the mayor. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes. Like for a very small town, you can see the prints, the fingerprints of someone like Brunello, Cucinelli, Castello. Castello di Solomeo one. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Being stewardship is an application for business managers, extension education at cultural and non projects and in society with our balance. Respect, quality, and craftsmanship. Well, for consumer sustainability, appreciation of carbon, Rubin's regulations of search, with chips, flash bathrooms, exploitative practices. Motivation is an empathy kindness and integrity. They also plant beauty. Critical thing that blends innocent philosophical ideas for ignorance and class from profound living on nature. Stuff like the elevation of human dignity, social stewardship, and moral responsibility. Bring back water. Living is not Mother Earth, we cultivate our land applying to nature and developing without foods. This is food as care. We do not use more resources as unnecessary and naturally take careful use of the universe. We always act as loyal and affectionate guardians of creation. Always act as loyal and affectionate guardians of creation. We believe in the moral and economic dignity of human beings, so we are free to create possibility and harmony between profits, family, and opportunity. Keep harmony between fair working human agency. Commemorate our forefathers that taught us to respect the law and our stories to them their words. The building a universe where women we act, displaying great respect for all the civilizations. We welcome fair change in order to experience the best from it. Welcome fair change in order to experience the best from it. And the sound of young people in Pasha to consider and the dream of bright future from weekends and gentle luxury, a symbol of pure beauty. El pelo is un don del buen moral. Okay, prospects, possessions, that's really would find that his work is as an expression of substance, and very well an external to be structured and essence of the whole form as necessary to the system of the perfect states. Unique possibilities, clear capacity, and separable. These instruments are in union with us. And people pray for the mental health others and body beauty disconnects aesthetic values directly with knowledge and relationships. Wow. How things come from the world. Golden Freight collection is featured in the show in the countryside. To the views and expressions such as expression, acceptance. to avoid an extreme structure. So you know, students making control for the non obviously body reach. Stance is 35, which will be with more beauty often aligns with simplicity, specific needs in terms of great but simplicity design of emotion and not quality. So beauty is more important. The house approach to level the surround the beauty and this in the computer and spirit. Beauty in the sense as the power in which the soul gently between almost measure and respect, not accessory symbol of silence, stability, and ethics. All to the generous these concepts strengths famous the characters, the beauty and the good. Or only to beauty can manifest something that beauty is the symbol of the man. Just like beauty ultimately shows a complex message in the engagement. Guardianship of beauty believes that individuals are responsible to sustain and protect beauty, drawing on Hegelian's idea of feeling responsible for the beauty of the world. The sense of guardianship extends to community, cultures, and nature, essential force that links aesthetics with virtue, love, wisdom, and social harmonies. Which these beauties is to of joy, perfect and spiritual, created through both his person and the way he leads his company. This is very interesting. This is very interesting that beauty is actually morally good. This is a very interesting concept. And I think that's where the concept of cleanliness comes from. It's like there's a spectrum. There's a spectrum where you have just like minimalist and which is like cleanliness, just cleanliness. Then you have like Balenciaga, let's say. Beautiful and the good cleanliness. Only for beauty can manifest something. Beauty is the symbol of the moral good. This the ancient Syrian and the Roman Emperor Hadrian gave life to his eternal concept soulful and in the process every single aspect of our life and soul and layer. With the term beauty I mean anything that is good for the soul. Beauty is one of the things that are closest to everyone and when some of philosophers, poets, artists, politicians, entrepreneurs, people in general, authors, let's say, have a direct and engaging relationship with beauty. Dostoevsky thought that beauty will save the world. In the present day, turning the concept around, Marcus Salvatore Setis question whether the world will say to it, responsable del mondo. Okay, this is nice. Just not Solomon. We gotta visit Solomon. Il bello che l'uomo può. Okay, I understand that. Embryo. It's beautiful. This is beautiful. Okay, what about artificial intelligence? Wow. Yeah. Okay. I have to look into this. We'll look into this more when we are back home.